Welcome to episode 9 of 2 Minutes to Life. This is Adam and Tanner here with yet another wonderful episode. So I'm trying to think of where I want to start here because it's been a really eventful past few days. I mean, there's actual sunlight in my room now. I'm changing a lot of things right now. So I'm coming out of a cut. I ended my cut. I was going to start my bulk, but I believe I did something that was not so smart. Basically, the last 2 weeks of my cut, I was so excited for my bulk that I started working out like I was bulking. And so I started pushing PRs, pushing heavy weight. So by the time the last day of my cut came, my knees were hurting and my elbows were hurting. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh God.
And so I'm pretty sure you would call it just, I don't know what you would call it, just either runner's knee or tennis elbows, just overuse of the joints.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was not able to start my bulk because I am now having to recover. And so I didn't want to start eating the food if I wasn't going to be going crazy on the workouts. And unfortunately, when your knees are recovering and your elbows are recovering, that really limits you on your workouts you could do.
Mm-hmm.
To basically just abs. And so I'm in a maintenance period right now. I just decided I'm gonna just take a break, just stay on a maintenance calories and recover. And then once I'm recovered, I could dive into my bulk. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll just be a week. But knowing my body and knowing injuries, it will probably be a few weeks, unfortunately.
Damn.
And so it's been, and I don't know how much everyone knows about recovery, but it's a journey because especially when you're into fitness, you just want to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my head, I'm like, okay, just do something. My motto is like, never do nothing, right? Like you've had a rough day. You're like, oh, I can't do a heavy workout. Do something, never do nothing. And so in my head, I'm thinking that. So I'm going in the gym and I'm using elastic bands, doing kind of recovery-based exercises. I'm doing, getting the foam roller out, doing like the self-myofascial release deals. And I'm doing a lot of yoga, stretching a lot. But when you injure yourself, it is not wise to really even stretch out the injury area after the first few days. I mean, the first few days should be just rest. And so I think by using the band and stretching, I am aggravating the injuries.
Oh,
So it's kind of, so now, like yesterday was the first day I didn't work out and I need to do the rice. I don't know if anyone knows what the rice is, the rest, ice, compression and elevation. I forgot it for a second. But that's a really good recovery method, and I think I need to just focus on that. And oh man, I could vent on and on about I was so excited for the bulk and now I'm super depressed. And even on top of that, like I was doing just some shoulder stuff and now my shoulder's even feeling something. I feel like there was something hidden there that I discovered by doing some shoulder stuff. And so I'm a mess right now. It's fine though. I embrace the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
This is meant to challenge me. And
Have you thought of trying ice bath or cold showers?
yeah, I mean, well, I've been using an ice pack on my injured areas. I don't have a bath anywhere that I could ice bath.
Take
But
a
cold showers, I do cold showers every once in a while.
Dude, Do it every single day, every morning for like 5 minutes, just cold shower in the morning. That's one of my like superpowers in bulking is like when I'm bulking or even in a cut, I mean, I just do ice showers nonstop. I do them, I'll never stop doing them. And at some point, I would like to have like a cold plunge where I could just jump in every morning to get it a lot colder, just because here in Hawaii, like the water doesn't get that cold. Like it's cold-ish, but it doesn't really get that cold.
Hmm.
So, um, but that's one of the best things for inflammation is just taking a cold shower. It just reduces all the inflammation in the entire body. So that's something you could definitely. I mean, it sucks the first time you do it. You're jumping in the fucking cold
Oh
shower. You're
yeah.
like, God. But then after like 3 months of doing it, you're like, I can't wait to take my cold shower. Like, let's go. So,
Yeah, I need to. I'm trying to do everything. Oh man, like, and that's the problem. Like when I first, it's like I want to bulk, so I got to do every little thing so I can recover. But
mhm,
then by doing all these little stretches and exercises, I'm actually aggravating it, which are making it worse. And
mhm.
then I'm like, well, maybe I could do some cardio. I'm going on the bike. I'm like, this would hurt my knees, and the next day my knees hurting. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it's just like a downhill. I'm making everything worse.
Damn, dude. Yeah, you're
But
still taking ginger, right?
yes, I'm taking a lot of ginger. I think.
That's good. Yeah, man.
Like,
Yeah,
let's
then
see,
probably. I
1500,
wonder if it's a nutrient then.
2250.
It might be a nutrient if you're like, because ginger is an anti-inflammatory, so that should help with inflammation in general. So, I don't know. I know sometimes like when I get like not injured per se, but like something's off in my body, like working out and like my wrists start hurting or like my neck's like twitching or something, I'm like, all right, I'm missing a vitamin. There's a vitamin, there's a key mineral, there's something that I'm missing. So I wonder if there's just like something there. I don't know, but
Hmm.
and you haven't been going hard on like switching your diet over to a bulk, right? You haven't like started because I've been eating like pizza and shit. That's definitely inflammation. That's like
Well, I mean, when you're done with the cut,
you gotta splurge a little bit.
you gotta enjoy a little bit. I've been to probably two all you can eats in the past 4 days, but I've been trying to just keep a maintenance calorie level, not go over or under, and focus on recovery. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I hope to start bulking soon. I was so excited for it, and now it's delayed.
That's okay. You'll get started. Every bulk starts with a little splurge of the hot Cheetos. Just kidding.
Yeah, no. I bought a I bought a whole bag of hot Cheetos today and ate it all this morning.
Dude,
So bad.
so did I. We bought a Costco size bag, the like big one, because they were on
Oh
sale,
my
bro.
gosh. I had a little bag.
We were getting a bunch of food, which like the majority of our cart was just fruits. We just buy a ton of fruit. Every weekend we like to buy a lot of fruit. We go to Costco, we get like bananas, pineapple here right now. We're like really good. So we get our pineapple, our berries. We always like splurge on the berries or whatever. And then we buy our meats and then like we like to have hummus like every week or whatever. Just like the basic things. And then we didn't have anything unhealthy in the cart. And I like was walking and I like looked over and I saw like the massive bag, the huge bag of hot Cheetos. It was only $5. I was like, I haven't had those.
That's so funny because I went to the store this morning and I got a bunch of oranges, a bunch of apples, and a bunch of bananas. And I'm like heading, to check out, and then I'm like, oh, and I see the hot Cheetos. I'm like, I could really use some. The one unhealthy thing I bought,
Yeah.
and I pounded that bag. But so this maintenance period that I put myself in, I am learning a lot. I think having a maintenance period in between your bulking and your cutting, I think it's useful. I think it's good
Mhm.
because it gives you the time to prepare, like mentally and physically, and your body to kind of adjust. And like more than anything, it's a time you could, focus on, well, not focus on anything, I guess. You could just eat when you're hungry and just you think a little bit about the calories, obviously, because with processed food and
Mhm.
stuff, you could definitely go way over just without even knowing it. But it's been nice to just kind of give because on a cut, you're really focusing on keeping it under. On a bulk, you're really pushing food down.
Mhm.
But it's been really kind of calm and nice to just not worry about either. And so I think a maintenance period in between your bulk and cut I'm learning I think it's a nice at least a week just to kind of give your body a little rest and mental preparation and physical preparation. So
Before the for a slutty bulk.
yeah, getting ready.
It's hard, man. Now that I'm bulking, it's hard not to go back on old bulking tendencies of like dirty bulking. Um, and even at the same time, because like I'm bulking right now, but I freak out. Like I freak out when I feel like I'm going over on my calories. So yesterday I intermittent fasted again, like just out of like pure fear. Like I'm not on a cut, I'm on a bulk, but I was like, oh, I can go all day without eating again. So like I went all day until 8 p.m. and it felt great. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I won't lie to you. When I'm on my cut, I feel amazing. Like I have a ton of energy just because I operate on like that slight tinge of hunger all day and caffeine, and so you're just like not irritated, but you've just got this like rush about you. And so like I was able to do a lot of shit yesterday, and then it came to like dinner time, and I was like, let's go. And I just like splurged way too hard for dinner. And I'm like, all right, Tanner, stop. So yeah,
Well,
not good.
I heard of something. I wonder if you've ever heard of it. It's called 30-30-30.
Mm-mm.
And so the idea is basically to prevent, because a lot of times at the nighttime, when your body's recovering and such, a lot of times your body's eating at the muscle, so to say, and it's taking a lot of energy storage from the muscles. And so basically the idea behind 30-30-30 is to prevent that, right? Is like within 30 minutes of waking up, you're going to eat 30 grams of protein, and then immediately you're going to start and do 30 minutes at least of cardio. And so it's a really cool idea. I'm looking into it, and it seems pretty legit because it basically prevents that muscle depletion in your body using that muscle. It's just because immediately you're going to give it that protein and you're going to start that cardio, which jump starts your body into the fat burning. And I guess the whole purpose of the deal is to keep your body fat low and keep your muscle higher.
Must
And
not.
so I thought it was a really interesting idea that I was planning on basically doing that from the get-go, is to do cardio in the morning, because
Mhm.
I've already learned that cardio is good, for one, for your cardiovascular health, and for two, if you do it in the morning, it helps maintain your low body fat, because it's just good for you in a bunch of different ways.
Mhm.
And then I guess the 30-30-30, what would be different for me is just making sure you get that 30 grams of protein pretty quickly in that morning so your body could immediately start using that. But I
So
thought it was a cool concept.
that is interesting. It's hard for me to like. I don't know. I'm scared of eating right after I wake up. That terrifies me. Because I used to. I used to like right as I wake up, you like feel that hunger and like you'd feed into it. And then I'd like a couple hours later I'd be like a little lethargic, like bleh, time to sleep. And like I'm scared of hitting that lethargy, that like sleepy fatigue. And so like I'll go all the way till 12 not eating. So the idea of popping 30 grams of protein in the morning and getting, because like once I arouse my appetite, that he's just it's over, man. Like once he's woken up, bro, the
Well, who
kitchen's
cares when
done.
you're on the bulk, dude? Who cares?
It's so
Get it
scary to
down.
me, man. Because like
Well, have you heard of like every 2 hours, if you're not consuming protein within every 2 hours, then your body's gonna have a harder time maintaining your muscle mass.
see, I don't know if I
I've
believe
heard
that.
that.
I don't know if I
I don't know
believe
if I
it though.
believe it. I haven't looked too much into it,
Yeah,
but that's the rumor.
yeah. And see, I don't know because like I feel like I've maintained a great amount of muscle mass. And even when I was cutting, which when I cut, like I cut way too far, like I cut way too hard. Um, it was cool though, like it was fun. Um, but like now I'm bulking or whatever. But even right before bulking, like when I just started like eating more meat, whatever, which my bulk right now is not the best. Like the whole 2 pounds of meat, like I'm fucking that up. I'm really fucking that up, man. I'm not doing 2 pounds of meat. I'm doing like maybe a pound, maybe, which isn't good for me. But like on my cut, I was religious about it. I was like a pound and a half. I was like a pound of beef, half a pound of ahi, half a pound of chicken. Like I went hard every day, and I leaned out great. Like it was amazing. But I don't know, because like I intermittent when I was intermittent fasting, I was only eating for like 4 hours. And I feel like I maintained an incredible amount of muscle mass, like a great amount of muscle mass. Strength wise though, that was just like PRs were just no, non-existent. No, dude, not a chance. Because you remember I was trying to hit like 405 on squat for like 3 weeks straight. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I couldn't hit it. So maybe there is some truth to that because like not eating every 2 hours. Like when I do eat all day and I go to try to squat, like I can squat a lot. Like I hit 400 no problem. But the days where like I intermittent fast and then I like try to hit it, it's like no, not a chance. So maybe there is some truth to that. I don't know. I
I
just know
think
that we're
I
not
believe
made.
it to a certain extent.
Mhm. I just know we're not made to eat all day. Like if we're eating all day, like ancestrally wise, like that's not how we operated for hundreds of thousands of years. So genetically speaking, like it to me, it's like oh, it doesn't make sense because I don't know. Especially that test that I had you do this last week, because that's based off of your like hormones. That's based off of your like personality. Dude, it's crazy because they had developed that test with he developed that with the lady who designed the algorithm for Tinder, and so it's based around like your ancestral like genetics and who you are. And it was kind of cool to see like what career paths you should pursue. But there was a podcast that Ty was in that he was talking about where he's talking about embracing like the genetics of our species. Like if you look at like how we operated for hundreds of thousands of years, like sapiens, like Homo sapiens or whatever, and it's insane to see like how we operate versus them now. Because like now, like we have access to eat all damn day long, and we know that's going to change the way our genetics like going forward. We know that going forward, Homo sapiens will shift. The way we look, the way we operate, it's going to shift because we have the luxury of eating all day, not having to hunt for our food. And not to say that like that's bad. I just don't know what's gonna happen. And so like to me, I'm like maybe I should keep it to where like I don't eat for a good significant portion of the day, and then I like obviously eat as much as I want in the time that I am eating. Just because that has worked too for me to like maintain like the muscle mass that I do enjoy having. But at the same time, I'm not running 100 miles and hunting saber-toothed tigers, so it's a different story.
Well, that's like I feel like there's all these little tricks. Like I said, like the 2 hour thing.
Mhm.
Like I could believe it to a certain extent because it makes sense, and I feel like there's probably all these little things. Like maybe the 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up.
Mhm.
I could believe that these little things, the amount of difference it actually makes could be very minuscule, but I believe it that it could potentially help all these little things. And I mean, yeah, I mean it's not our nature, it's not our genetics, but I mean it wasn't our genetics to be extremely muscular and have 5% body fat. Just doing all these things that we're trying to do is not necessarily our genetics, but it's definitely interesting to look at and try
Mhm.
to because I mean everyone's body's different.
Yeah.
So who's to say what works with someone doesn't work with you?
That's true. I'm just scared of like getting tired. I don't like the idea of eating in the morning just because I used to sleep every day at like 3 p.m. Like I'd like be working and then just be like out. And I hated that, dude. Like I'd always get in trouble. And I'm like, how do I avoid this like sleeping in the middle of the day. And I found it's like, oh, just don't eat in the morning, intermittent fast, get your coffee, whatever, and like all day I have energy. Like all day. Like right now, obviously I haven't eaten. I've just drank water. I haven't even drank coffee yet. And I feel great, but just that like tinge of hunger keeps me a little more motivated. Gets me a little more like energetic. Because I know that like when you do intermittent fasting, your body starts producing its own sugars. Um, so that's cool. That's like to me, I'm like, oh yeah, like F sugars, because now my body's producing sugars. But yeah, for me, it's just like I just like being tired in the middle of the day. I don't like passing out. Which not yesterday, it was like the day before yesterday. I ate in the morning, like right at I think it was like 10:45. I ate for the first time in the morning, like in was it like 2 years. I ate breakfast that early, and dude, like right on schedule, right at 1 or 2 p.m. I was trying to read my book in my car, and I was like passing out, and I was like clocking out. And so like I leaned my seat back and just like fell asleep for like 30 minutes. I woke up and I was like, no, no, that's what you get for eating, you piece of shit. Like, that's not what I wanted. And so I was a little frustrated, but I don't know.
Well, I believe there's perks to intermittent fasting.
Mhm,
I believe maybe overall performance it's best for you. I mean, you look at studies and you look at um, genetics and everything. It makes sense.
mhm,
But when it comes to like muscle growth and muscle strength, is that the best? You
mhm.
got to look at where your goals are and what's best for your goals. I don't know. I don't know what's
Yeah.
best.
Well, I was extreme. I've been extreme with intermittent fasting. I don't
I
follow the
know.
actual like rules of intermittent fasting because I think like for my age group, I think it's a 8 or 10 hour feeding window. I think it's actually a 10 hour feeding window. I don't want to accept that. I'm like, no, no, 4 hours. Like, that's all you get. So I'm not 100% sure what the feeding window is. So I'd imagine if I followed it, if I like ate for 8 hours, I guarantee I can blast through like all the calories and protein that I need. In my 4 hour feeding window, it's impossible for me to like get the calories. Protein I can do. I can get the protein in the 4 hour feeding window, but caloric wise, like it's difficult. So, which I'm on a bulk and a cut and a bulk and a cut at the same time because I'll bulk for 1 day and I'll cut for a day just because I'm scared to be on a full bulk because I don't like dirty bulking. But I do it sometimes. I'm like, dirty bulking's bad because it's not good for the body when it comes to inflammation. Um, it's just not optimal. I know that, but at the same time, I love pizza.
Dude, it's hard. Like, I'm just experimenting right now, trying to. I want to do a clean bulk, and so I'm just experimenting with foods and what I really want to do. Like, I last bulk, I wouldn't say it was necessarily dirty, but I drank most of my calories,
Yeah.
which isn't the cleanest, and it's hard to get your calories in cleanly. It really is. I find it crazy just the few calorie surplus or the few calorie deficit, one way or another, whether you're cutting or bulking, how hard it is to hit that. Just it's crazy. Like I mean, when you're doing it clean, I
Mhm,
mean, cutting's hard regardless, but bulking, obviously, everyone. I want a dirty bulk. It's easy.
mhm.
I want a dirty bulk.
Dirty bulking's easy because they make hyper palatable foods. Like they make foods that just taste and shut off those things in the brain that's like, oh, you're full. So it can be difficult to do a clean bulk, but I also feel that like I can get away with some things just because I've been doing this for so long. Like I've been working out for 13 years, so I have the right to eat, which isn't entirely true. Like that's not true. Like I used to have this phrase that like you never deserve a cheat day. I used to say that, like you never actually deserve a cheat day. And I don't think that's true. Like I do think you should be able to have a cheat day, but at the same time it's like if you could if you could maintain the absolute control, which during the cut I maintain like great control over my diet. It's just like no, beef, ahi, chicken, vitamins like rice. And I can maintain that like indefinitely. And then when I'm bulking, it's like, oh, I've got to get the calories in, and so like I'll splurge and I'll like eat the extra things, and I don't know, it's hard, it's difficult because you give yourself excuses, and like you said, you would drink your calories, which dude, mass gainer is amazing. Like it's great when you're drinking your calories, but there's a ton of like sugar in mass gainer. There's so much sugar in
There's a lot
mass
of crap in it.
There's a
Empty
lot.
calories.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. There's a lot
I
of
think ideally, if you're hitting your micros, which is easier, or your macros, yeah. If you're hitting your macros, which is easier, I mean, proteins, fats, carbs, it's easy to hit those.
Mhm.
But if you're hitting your micros, if you're hitting all of those, it doesn't matter necessarily how you do it, but it's impossible to calculate. I mean, it's not impossible, but to calculate all of those with every meal you're doing is making sure you're getting all your micros. Like, do I have enough potassium? Do I have enough?
Mhm.
Like, it would be extremely hard, but ideally, if you're trying to do it really good, you're gonna hit everything right where it hits it and no surplus. But I don't know.
I was gonna ask, have you played around with boron?
I was looking into it honestly because obviously I'm looking into natural test boosters, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm playing it weird this round because boron is micronutrient, I guess,
Yeah, it's
or
a
is it a
great.
trace mineral?
Yeah, it's micro, so trace mineral.
Yeah.
Bro, it's I just got back on boron, and I like because I told you I was taking that pre-workout that had a shit ton of boron in it. Um, and it was like what I remember was like I would heal really quick after a workout. Even during a workout, it was crazy. Like I could be in the gym for like 3.5 hours and be like, I don't want to stop. And I could get the craziest lifts in with my guides, and then like the next day do the exact same thing if I wanted to. And so I've been taking boron again, and it's a game changer when it comes to healing and recovery. It's scary. Like it's terrifying how fast you recover. Because if you've been lifting for a long, say you just started lifting, if you just start lifting, typically your peak protein synthesis is happening around 24 hours to 48 hours. So that's why like people like you're feeling sore for days. But then like us, we only feel sore for like a short period of time, like maybe like a day, and then it like kind of goes away. So if you've been training for at least a year or 2 years, I think it's around 1 year. I'm not 100% sure. You reach the protein synthesis peak protein synthesis for muscle recovery 12 hours after a workout. But dude, I swear to God, man, with when you're taking boron, it's like 3 hours, and then like the next day you're like, I could do legs again. Like let's just go again. And so I don't know, dude. That's something I would recommend trying out just because it's giving me a crazy edge on the gym and recovery in general. Um, I don't know. Might be something you could try. Just
Well,
don't overdo it.
I'm looking into it, but I have a weird mentality this preparing for this bulk because I mean I've been miscalculating a lot of supplements and like magnesium for a moment I was taking just a butt ton
Oh
and
yeah. Oh, but
potassium I was overdoing at one point like I so my goal I've been trying to keep track of my micros and everything, but I want to get them naturally. I've been really trying to build a diet and a meal plan that I could get the micros naturally. And then the supplements I would take would just be natural supplements, fenugreek, ashwagandha, tonga ali, like just kind of natural sources just to help boost some stuff in different areas.
Mhm.
But I've been looking into boron, but I'm looking more towards the ways of what food items have it, and then how can I get a lot of that more naturally? Because for one, I believe it's better if you can get it in a natural source because of the compound it's in. It's better for your body and it's in its full form. And
Mhm.
for two, for some reason I can't calculate and I always overdose it and then like yeah I'm overdosing magnesium and I look up like what are the side effects of too much magnesium, it's like death. I'm like oh shoot. No, it's never that bad, but
Death.
It's like
Wow.
don't overdo this because they'll store in your system and yeah. But
So I know that you can get boron in raisins. So raisins has boron in it, and I just looked it up just to double check. It's like 1.5 ounces has almost a full milligram, and you only need
dude, I
five
think
milligrams.
I have a big thing of raisins. Actually, I should just start snacking on that.
Yeah, because I was adding for the last little while, I've been adding raisins to my oatmeal, but then also my pre-workout has 5 milligrams of boron in it, and that's what I take. And bro, it's a game changer. Like I'm telling you right now, it's crazy. Like it, because I had that day that we were exchanging all those articles. I remember I sent you the one on boron, and when I was reading it, I was like blown away at the like crazy because it's just a trace mineral. You only need like 3 milligrams a day. Like you don't need that much. You need a very, very, very small amount. And I think the other dried fruit that has it is either dates or prune. I don't know. I think it's dates. I don't know. But I know raisins has like for every ounce and a half, it's like 1 milligram. So I'll add like 3 ounces to my oatmeal, which is a lot, but I don't give a shit. Like I want my boron.
I've been looking into dates because well, I mean, I'm in this weird, health phase. I'm trying to do everything naturally. I'm trying to bake just, all natural ingredients, no processed sugar. And when you're looking into that dates, a lot of people use kind of as a sweetener, I think. I've never played around with it, but I've seen that. And so I'm curious to try some. And I've seen a lot of people make some, like even sweets, bake some sweets, just grind up some dates and then
Mhm.
use them kind of as a sweetener for the food. So
Interesting.
might try that.
Try it, dude. Because I'm trying to get to a point where I'm taking 5 milligrams of boron every single day, even the days that I don't lift. Because right now it's mostly on the days that I'm lifting that I get my boron in. And I notice the effects, but I want to experience it again. Because when it was it was almost 5 years ago now, where I was taking the 200 milligrams of boron every day. And that was crazy, dude. I was lifting for 3.5 hours, 7 days a week. Like I couldn't stop. Like I was just like, there's no rest days. There's no rest days on my clock. And it was nuts for sure. It was crazy, but I felt amazing. And so I'm like, I want to get back to that. I don't want to get back to taking that much, but I am curious to see what it's like taking it every day again. So maybe start pounding raisins, just start eating a ton of raisins every day. But because I was doing I bought the Costco size bag of raisins, but I blasted through that and like because I was trying to get my amount of boron in every day, and I was blasting through that in how long did that take me? 3 weeks to go through that. It's pretty quick. So I might actually start supplementing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Never know.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine's my my food journey is really really interesting right now as I'm transitioning. What's
Transition.
really weird is I'm trying to eat my protein,
Mm.
and then like I'm trying to bake with protein and creatine because protein and creatine. I mean, for the most part, they're stable at high temperatures, and you could throw them in anything and bake it, and they'll come out, and you'll still get most of the protein and creatine. And so I've been experimenting with a lot of stuff, and it's been pretty fun.
I put creatine in my rice, bro. I'm such an animal.
You said that.
Dude, I
I can't get my
consistently
mind around
do it.
that. I can.
I made curry not last night. The night before last, I think I made curry, and I always put creatine in my rice. I don't care, dude. Like I'm just like,
Well,
yeah, well,
put some fenugreek in your curry too as well while
yeah.
you're at it.
Well, no, there's already fenugreek in curry. I could add
More
extra.
fenugreek.
Could add a lot extra. I've
That's
been
good
consistent
stuff.
with those. The fenugreek I've been consistent with. Those that's something since you told me I've been taking every day. And I like it. I like the mood. I feel like I'm a lot more in control of my mood. Um, It has. I actually read something the other day. It was interesting. If you get your testosterone too high, you lose your sex drive. So like you can get it high, and it's like your drive increases and increases and increases, and then there's a point where your estrogen's so low that like you just lose your sex drive. Not lose it, but it's just
Yeah,
like
but naturally in the natural limits, or are we talking about when you're taking things that boost it higher than its natural?
no, you can get it so naturally
You're
high
talking
that
about below 1,000.
you once you get above 1,000, I think if you get to the like 1100s, your sex drive kind of changes, and it's only
Well,
because when you get rid of all of the majority of your estrogen, because estrogen is also responsible for a bit of your sex drive. So when the estrogen drops below a certain threshold, that's when it like your sex drive will
well,
also
I
dip.
I've heard that when you're boosting your testosterone, a lot of things that you'll take, even natural things, it'll boost your estrogen as well.
Yeah. So,
That's what I've heard.
some of them will. I know fenugreek does. Um, it's supposed to like help regulate hormones. Um, but I don't know. I was reading about this and I thought that was interesting. Like
But to get over 1,000 naturally, I feel like is really uncommon.
it is if you're taking cold showers before training and you actually don't even need to take ashwagandha. The what was it, the Sakamoto study? There was a guy in there who was just doing the pre-cooling and he was just on a normal diet, but he got up to the 1140 just naturally. Just because he was doing the cold showers every single day before intense training. And that was in the 1991 Sakamoto study for the pre-cooling training, where they had them take the ice baths every day before doing like rugby and shit. But that's a different story because rugby is a very high intense sport. Like it's like a very high impact, high intensity. I can imagine your testosterone's violently rising in that sport.
Yeah, you're so aggressive. I feel like you need the high test.
Yeah. So I know you can do it naturally, which I'm kind of mad that I haven't been doing the cold showers recently. I do them like maybe 4 or 5 times a week. I was like every single day for like the last year, and I've slowed down a bit, and I don't like it. I don't like the days that I don't have my cold shower. It bothers me. I feel like
Well, the problem with me is I'm a night shower guy. I shower before I go to bed,
that's not a good
and
idea.
that's not ideal
Yeah,
for cold showers. And
yeah.
so that's where I'm like, I don't shower 2 times a day on most days. It's just
Do it. Just do it. Just jump in for 2 minutes cold in the morning. Don't even go warm. Don't even go warm. Just go straight cold in the morning.
just jump
Right
in
as you
and
wake up, just turn that thing on cold and just jump in, suffer for 3 to 5 minutes, and then get out.
I'll have to implement it.
Do it. Just don't even think about it. In fact, go right now. Just
Okay.
kidding. You never know. Might change things up. I didn't do it today. I need to. Feel guilty about that one.
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break.
So,
Discipline.
real quick 5 minute break. We'll be right back. No. I do want to get a cold plunge though. I know that you can get them for like $40, the inflatable ones. But then you just have to replace. You have to keep adding the ice to it, whatnot. I would like to get a professional one at some point in time, but I know that when I was trying the Goggins challenge, the uh, is it 4x4x48? Have you heard of that, bro? Oh
No.
my God! So I hadn't run in like a year, and I had this manager. He's like, "Hey, we're doing the Goggins challenge, the 4x4x48," and I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "You run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight, and it's a total of 48 miles." And I was like, "I want to do it." He's like, "You basically don't sleep. You just you try to sleep for like 2 hours in between, but like say you start at like 6 p.m. You're like, I'm gonna run 4 miles at 6 p.m. Then at 10 p.m. you run 4 miles, and then at 2 a.m. you run 4 miles, and then at 6 a.m. you run 4 miles, and then at obviously 10 a.m. you run 4 miles, and then 2 p.m. and you're just like running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. I only ended up doing like 16 miles total, and I was fucked up. Like, I was like, no. Of course, I didn't have running shoes.
Yeah.
I was running in Toms, so that was probably another factor. Uh, but I did an ice bath in between each run. In between every run, I think I bought 80 pounds of ice. And so I would just like add to my bathtub and I would take an ice bath. And then I would try to sleep afterwards, which that didn't work. That was stupid. Wait, that was really dumb now that I think about it. You're supposed to do the pre-cooling before training. You idiot. Okay, I see where I went wrong. I see where I went horribly wrong. I want to try that challenge again at some point in the near future and do that correctly, where I ice
Yeah,
right
that's
before
insane.
running.
That's an insane challenge.
Dude, we should try it. We should work our way up and do it. Like, no. Bro, we did 1,000 push-ups. Come on. If we can do 1,000
Yeah,
push-ups.
but I'm looking to bulk right now. I'm not gonna run freaking 48 miles, dude. Dude, hit me up in 8 months when I'm cutting again. Gosh.
That's true. Well, so here's the thing. After the 16 miles that I did run, I was yoked out of my freaking brains, dude. I had such great cardiovascular health. Like, my body was processing protein at a violent rate. I do remember after doing my 16 miles, I was eating nonstop for like 3 days. I couldn't stop eating. Like, everything. Literally everything. I couldn't stop eating. So, we do need another challenge though, because we did the 1,000 push-ups, we did the 1,000 sit-ups the week following. That was in July. And we need another hard challenge. We need something that really pushes us. So maybe not the 4x4 by 48. That's a pretty ridiculous
Yeah,
challenge.
not bad.
But we need another good
Yeah, we'll
challenge.
have to come up with something. Well, I'm recovering right now.
I know, I know, I know.
And here's the thing, like in my cut, I didn't touch cardio. I haven't done cardio in forever, which is really bad
Mm,
because, you know, that's why I'm making plans to I want to hit cardio every day. It's really good for you, really essential. People
mhm,
who miss cardio, it's a bad deal. But then again, I'm sure with the intensity of a lot of my workouts, especially in my cut and the calisthenics that I do in a lot of my workouts, I'm sure I was hitting a lot of cardiovascular type
yeah.
help in my exercises. But at the same time, it's good just to focus on some cardio
Mhm,
and train up that because that's essentially the health of your heart. It's good and your breathing.
mhm. Yeah, especially on a bulk, that's the number one thing I make sure that I do when I'm bulking is I make sure that I'm doing my cardio. On a cut, I don't do as much cardio, which I know when people probably hear that, they're like, that doesn't make any sense. Um, and the reason being that I make sure that I do my cardio when I'm bulking is when your cardiovascular health is high, your metabolism is through the damn roof. And so you're able to eat as much as you like possibly could to bulk. And so it makes bulking a lot easier. People go into a bulk and they have a hard time getting the calories they need in. And the fastest way to get those calories in is to start running. Like, even if it's 15, 20 minutes, like you run for 15, 20 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes. You hit your 30 minutes every day, I guarantee you're going to be able to blast through as many calories as you want in that day. So, for me, it's imperative on a bulk to do my cardio. I haven't been doing as much though. I do need to I do need to do it. And because I told you my goal recently was to start running 4 miles a week, and the reason I want to do at least 4 miles a week is because I want to redo that Goggins challenge. I really want to hit it at some point. So, which it
I will
sucks.
say I'm not gonna run. I mean,
Mm.
my experience with running and weightlifting is not a healthy experience, or not. I wouldn't say healthy. It's just not a friendly experience.
No,
But it's just I don't know. It's just
no.
it's just because I always one triggers an injury in the other. I would say. And so when I hit cardio this bulk, I plan on doing like just bike,
Hmm.
like not even normal bike, like bike with the wheels in front, like the least impactful on my knees as possible, just to get that cardio in and
Hmm.
because I really want to be able to push a lot of weight this bulk, and I don't want anything to impact my joints
Yeah.
otherwise, I guess.
I know um, a lot of people, especially when running, uh, dude, even in high school, they didn't teach running properly. Um, a lot of I remember we were in track in middle school and they didn't teach how to run properly because that wasn't something I learned until I went running with my father that one day. I think I was 15 years old. Was it four? No, I was 14 years old. Yeah, I was 14 years old and I was like, I want to go running. And my dad's like, hey, let's go run 14 miles. And I was like, what? No, I want to run a mile. He's like, no, you're gonna run 14 with me. And I was like, I can't do that. And he's like, I'll show you how. And I was like, dude, you're crazy. He's like, no, you're gonna run with me right now and we're gonna go do 14 miles. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm gonna teach you how to run properly and you'll be able to run like Forrest Gump. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And I was running all wrong, dude. I was running all fucky. Like, I didn't know. I had no clue. Like, we got outside and I like immediately started running. He was like, hey, slow down. Stop. What are you doing? And I was like, we're running. He's like, no, not like that. You're gonna break your ankles. And I was like, what you mean? And he's like, don't let your heels touch the ground. And I was like, what? He's like, don't let your heels touch the ground. You're gonna be in physical pain if you do that. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, your feet. He's like, if you look at like a dog, if you look at dogs, their heels do not touch the ground. It's always the balls of their feet that are touching the ground. It's never the heel. He's like, it's because your foot is supposed to be like a spring. It's supposed to act as a spring. And if your heel is touching the ground, it's not acting as a spring and it's giving you micro concussions. It's compressing your spine. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, if you let your heel touch the ground when you are walking or running, you are compressing your spine. And I didn't know that. I was like, okay, so what do I do? He's like, stay on your toes. This run's gonna hurt. And I had never felt more sore in my life after this thing, just because like you're using your calves a lot more when you run that way, when you
Oh yeah.
keep your heels elevated. So, but he made me run the 14 miles. It was brutal as hell. Uh, and I remember when we started, I tried to like take off. I tried to like run, right? And he was like, chill. And he's like, we started this little like run. And I was like, Dad, this is gay. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to do this. And he's like, no, trust me, we will get to running. And I'm like doing this little like jog. And I'm like, you are ancient. This is the ugliest way to start running. Like, we look so stupid. He's like, it doesn't matter how we look. We're going to run 14 miles. And I was like, we're not going to run 14 miles like this. This is going to take a year, man. He's like, just trust me. He's like, chill. And this is if you want to run a long distance, like 14 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles. This is not if you're trying to run like 2 miles. Because like when I run my 2 miles, like I sprint that whole bitch. Like I don't care. But if I'm running a longer distance, say 6 miles, I always use this method that he taught me. And this is for anybody that wants to run a longer distance. And he showed this to me, which was really crazy. I thought this was insane. You see, like you start off really, really, really slow, like weirdly slow. It was awkward. I hated it. I hated every fucking second of the. He's like, for the first 15 minutes, you are working your way up to a run. You're kind of jogging, not really. You're not actually jogging. Like it, I felt like I could walk faster than we were. What the fuck ever we were doing. I didn't like it. I was like, this is weird. But you use 15 minutes and you slowly speed up for 15 minutes. The first 5 minutes, you feel like you look like the dumbest, weirdest human in the world. You're like, I look stupid. Like, this isn't running. And then, like, the next 5 minutes, you're, like, kind of working yourself up to that, like, actual jog. And by the time you hit 15 minutes, you're running. Like, you're actually running. But it doesn't feel like you're running. And I thought it was odd. And, like, got to the 15-minute mark and we were running. And, like, we were actually running. And he's like, how does it feel? And I was like, it honestly feels like I'm walking. And he's like, yep, that's how it's supposed to feel. And I was like, this is interesting. And I was like, but my calves feel interesting as well, because I wasn't allowing my heels to touch the ground. And he's like, your calves are going to hurt after this. But we ended up doing the 14 miles, and it was fairly easy. Not easy, it was difficult, but I did it. Like, I did it honestly without complaint. I didn't really have a choice, but it wasn't as hard as I thought. And I remember afterwards being like, I could go running again. Like, that was weird. And ever since that, that's how I've run long distance wise. Uh, but no, when I do my 2 miles, because I'm trying to do 4 miles every week. When I run my 2 miles, I just like blast through it just because I want to get it over with. But yeah, dude, we should do at least some sort of challenge, some sort of cardio challenge.
Sure.
I mean,
No, I think it's interesting you brought up the running style because I mean, I run, on my toes, on the balls of my feet. Um, I think they trained me that way in soccer, I want to
yeah.
say.
Well, it's because my
Um,
dad was the coach.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Uh, but it's funny because I remember one time uh, I was just running, I was training up my run, and I was running around this small track, and I remember this guy even coming up next to me, and he's like, "You're running, Ron." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You got to run uh, heel toe." And I'm like, No, I don't." And he's like, "Yeah, you got to run heel toe." I'm like, "Dude, keep going." I think I was pretty rude to him because I was pretty like offended. I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
who does this? This random guy just came up to me and tells me I'm running wrong." But I did look into it like pretty heavily. Um, and I think there's benefits to both ways. I mean, and there's ups and downs to both ways. Because, I mean, when you're running on the balls of your feet, I mean, it's really impactful on your calves.
You'll
And
feel it in your
so
calves.
you could get, uh, you could overuse your calves if don't train up to it.
Hmm.
Um, but definitely it helps when it comes to it's like acting as a spring. It could the downside would be less momentum, what I've learned. The heel toe, obviously, well, there's a lot of people that just smack their foot on the ground, and that's obviously the worst way to do it. If you're gonna run heel toe, it has to be
That's
really
your role.
fluid, and the benefit of that is the momentum. You're getting a lot of momentum, but obviously the downside could be you're still hitting the ground pretty hard.
Yeah.
And so the micro concussions, like you said, is a risk. And so I've looked into it. There's benefits to both, and it's a debate, I'm sure, amongst runners that goes back a long, I'm sure.
See, and I feel like I get more momentum just on my the balls of my feet because like when I'm running balls of my feet, I'm not upright. I'm like leaned forward. Like I'm literally like my body is angled forward. And so it's just like just the balls of my feet and it's not like because I feel like if you when you're when you're running heel toe, like you're more upright.
Sure.
Um, I don't know, man, because like I've
Well,
always run. Well, I'm also really tall, so I do run fast in general. So I
well, it's
can't say that.
interesting to think out because everyone. Here's the thing: everyone when they sprint, they run the same.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's on the balls of their feet when they sprint,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just when it comes to running, what's the most effective way? I don't know. That's the debate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoy running on my toes. I
Yeah.
It is, but here's the thing: when I get into running, the thing is like when I decide I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Obviously, where I'm at with my bulk, like I go hard, I dive
Mm-hmm.
into it, and so when I decide I want to start running again, I just I'm gonna go run a 5K today, and then when I'm running using all my calf, I get shin splints, and then oh man,
It's brutal.
it's brutal.
Brutal. I did my miles last week, and dude, that was hard, man. That made my calves stupid sore, and I was like, this is because I'm not running. Like, and I do feel like my calves need more work, so which is why I'm like running more often. But this shit hurts, man. It hurts a lot. But I do need to. I know that I need to do it more. I know I need to do it a lot more, just because like, oh man, I don't want to say it, but I knew I knew this human. Actually, I won't roast them. I won't roast them. I'll be nice to
Gross
them.
them.
Should I roast them? Oh, it's such a hard one. Oh, it's such a dick one. I knew this human. And fuck it. Fuck it. I'm gonna say it. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna roast him. I don't give a damn. I knew this human. He's like, oh, I just I'm not a runner. I'm never gonna run. I don't like running. But when we would go somewhere, we would go do something. Say we had something was urgent, he would run to grab the thing. Like, oh, like something's rolling away, or wind catches something. He would run to grab this thing, and I'd be like, you fucking ran, bitch. Like, you ran. And they always said like, I'm not a runner. I don't run. I don't run. I don't run. Like, I never need to run. And I remember saying to this person, do you want to be the person that never runs again for the rest of your life? Or do you want to be the person that utilizes their legs and has great strength in their running capabilities? And I knew that upset them. I knew that upset them because then they went running with me that following week. But I think that was the only time that they ever ran. And I don't think they'll ever run again. Because we did our run and they complained. They were, you know, complained about it, which is understandable. It's a run. Nobody likes running. David Goggins doesn't enjoy running, and he's like the fucking god of running. But that's the way I see it, is like, I never, I'm afraid of being the person who never runs again. Because like I've got legs, and I've got the strength in my legs. And the idea of, because like I didn't, there's been times where like I didn't run for like a year, and then I decided to do that Goggins challenge. And I look at that year of not running, where I didn't run at all, and it upsets me, like makes me mad. I'm like, why didn't I run for that entire year? I didn't run. I would go to the gym, and I'd do like my high intensity interval training on the treadmill, but I don't really count that as running because like I sprint for a minute, walk for a minute. Yes, it's running a bit, but it's on a treadmill. Like running outside is a whole different story. Like you're in the elements, you're actually running. I think running on a treadmill like counts to an extent, but it's not like truly going the uphill, downhill, like sidewalk, street, like dealing with like the actual things and like moving through things. But for like that year that I wasn't running, because when I do like my high intensity interval training, because I say that and I look back when I was actually doing that, I'd only do like 4 minutes, 5 minutes on the treadmill, like sprint for a minute, walk for a minute, sprint for a minute, and then I was like done. I'm like, all right, let's start a workout, like whatever. I don't really count that. This is not really running. And I didn't run for like an entire year. And then I tried this Goggins challenge and I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't finish this challenge. And my manager at the time, he did it. He ended up doing 52 miles. So he did the whole 48 and they were like, let's do another 4. And like he
Oh
did
shoot.
another 4. And I was like, damn it, man. Like, son of a gun. And it pissed me off. It like really upset me because like he was able to do the whole like 48 and he ran 4 miles a week. I think that's 8 miles a week. I swear to God, I'm gonna kill that cat. I hope you can't hear that. But yeah, I could only do 16 miles, and I'm like, damn, man, I want to retry that at some point in time. Just because, like, I can do the 1,000 push-ups, I can do the 1,000 sit-ups. I don't think I can do the 1,000 pull-ups yet. I honestly don't think that's
That's a lot of pull-ups.
that's a lot of pull-ups, dude. I
Yeah,
remember.
that challenge would have to probably be lower just because pull-ups is a greater effort, I would say.
It is a really difficult effort, but we did descend from monkeys, so maybe at some point in time, it's a
Some point.
some,
Start lower though.
yeah, we should aim for like 250 first. We
Yeah,
should
that's
try that
probably
at
a
some
good
point in time because I
start.
can do 100. I've gotten to the 100 point on pull-ups. Like there's been times when like I need to improve my pull-up game. So I go to the gym and I spend literally an hour getting to like 100 pull-ups. I'm like, this is miserable. Like this sucks. And it's just a point where I'm literally just like one pull-up at a time and then I'm dropping.
Well, those challenges are so fun because I mean, you mentally prepare like beforehand. You're like, okay, how am I gonna do this? Like
Mhm.
with the push-ups, I'm like, okay, how much can I do in a set, and I can maintain that, and how much,
Mhm.
and then as you actually do it, you actually learn how much you could do, whether it's what you thought you could or
Mhm.
normally less, as time goes on. So it's a really fun experience. Like I definitely want to hit one again, but unfortunately, like right now,
Yeah. You gotta
like
work on
like I'm thinking today is like because I really want to hit the gym is like what can I actually hit and not even touch my areas and like sit-ups. That's
it. Mhm.
that's literally the one thing I could do.
Sit-ups. Oh, you couldn't even do leg ups to bar because your shoulder. Yeah, it's mostly just
But
ab.
yeah, and then I just don't want to even move. I don't want to move the knee or cause any pressure on it. I don't want to move the elbows or call it because like so I'm like sit ups is the one thing. So I'm probably after this I'm literally just gonna go to the gym and maybe pump out like sit ups galore.
Dude, that was so interesting when we did those challenges and we had such differences. Like I had such a hard time with the push-ups and you had an easy time with the push-ups. And then I had such an easy time with the sit-ups and you had a hard time with the sit-ups. And that was so interesting to see. Like that was so crazy.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
fun.
was really cool. Yeah, the sit-ups I like blasted through. I remember I was like, but what's crazy is what happens in the mind before we attempted the challenge. Because we suffered through it mentally for like a week prior. For the entire week, I remember when we started the challenge, like, we're going to do 1,000 push ups. Every day after that, dude, I was like suffering mentally. I was in such an incredible amount of mental pain. And I remember the Saturday, because we hit the push ups on the 4th of July. I remember that. We're like, let's do 1,000 push ups on the 4th. Like, let's do it on the 4th. You're like, I'm not doing anything. And I was like, I'm not doing anything. Let's do 1,000 push ups on the 4th. And I remember the Saturday or Sunday prior, I couldn't sleep. I was like in bed, like stressing. I was like, fuck, man, like we're gonna do these 1,000 push-ups. Like, I don't think I can do this. Like, and I can't bail on Adam. Like, I have to do this. Like, I have to do this. And I'm like, fuck, man, like I don't know if I can do this. And I remember like my girlfriend was consoling me and she's like, hey, like, what's going on? And I was like, I was literally like almost in tears and I was holding them back. I was so upset. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm so scared. And she's like, you're honestly one of the strongest people I've ever known. So, like, I think you're not going to have a problem with it. And I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, God. Like, okay, fine. And the day prior, I remember the Monday prior, I was in the gym and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I've suffered this last week through this. I'm going to do this. Like, I don't care. I don't care if it takes me all damn day. I'm not going to go anywhere until these push-ups are done. Like, I don't care at this point. I've already mentally suffered through it. I don't care if I'm on that floor for 10 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours. I will do my 1,000. I don't give a shit. And I was so angry at that point. Like, I was so mad. And I was like, we're doing this. I don't give a shit. And then, like, that morning came and I was like, let's fucking go. Like, let's go. And, like, I got home and I was just like, it was difficult. It was incredibly difficult. And I remember hitting like the 300 and being like, shit, man, like I'm feeling it. Because I got to 100, no problem. 100 was easy, right? Get to 200, you're like, all right, I'm feeling it, right? I'm feeling it. And then I got to 300 and I was like, shit, man, this is where things are starting to hurt. And I remember getting past 400 and being like, shit, this hurts. This hurts a lot. And there's that valley. There's this valley I feel between 400 and 800 where you're like, I can quit. I could stop. You know, I could call it quits. And your brain's giving you all of those little resistances that are like, you could quit now. Like, you could just give up now and say you gave it your best shot. I'm like, no, but if I do it, I know I never, like, it'll hurt me for so long. I already suffered for a week. Like, just do it. There's that valley between 400 and 800. And then you hit 800 and you're like, you're there. Like, you're almost fucking there. And you're like, I have to do this. And the moment you get to 900, you're like, there's the end goal. I'm coming for you. You're within my grasp, motherfucker. And I remember that 900 to like hitting from the 900 to the 1,000. Like I was going so much faster. I was like, fuck you. I'm coming for you, bitch. And but that like 400 to 800 is that like huge valley of disappointment of like serious suffering and resistance. And it's crazy what the mind does when you set a goal like that and you like actually hit it. But
No, there's
cool.
definitely the breaking point. Like I found with both the 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 sit-ups we did, and it's not even halfway. It's like before halfway, there's like a breaking point. It's like where your mind's gonna tell you like to not do it.
Yeah.
And because like you look at the overall challenge and you get like a few hundred in, and you're like, holy crap, that's a lot of reps.
Yeah.
And your brain's giving you every reason not to continue, and it's like, oh, you could just give up now. It's a lot of work. It's going to be a while before you finish, or like you're going to injure yourself. Your brain's
Hmm.
giving you every excuse to give up, and you have to just keep pushing through that. But the best part is when you actually push through it, because when you get past the middle ground and you get to like the three quarters, it's just you see the end.
Yeah.
And you're ready. You've already pushed past it. I mean, I compare it to like running, because like when you start running, I mean, there's a whole science to it, like with the energy storage and everything. But when you start running, it's not fun,
No.
right? And then you start feeling that burning, of maybe what you ate in that day, and you're hurt, and you're like, oh shoot. But then once you push past that, if you push past that, because a lot of people are like, I feel like crap, I'm going to stop running, and they'll stop and walk or whatever. But if you push past that and you get to that point where you're ready and you could feel it, and you get to a point where you could go on forever. So it's a fun experience. It's definitely worth doing them.
It's crazy
Because you could do them. I mean,
Yeah.
if you do one rep at a time, you do one rep at a time. It's doable. It's not impossible. It's doable for anyone who's decently active. So it's a mind game.
It is a mind game. It is an absolute mind game, especially in that valley of like that like middle ground. I felt like for me it was like 400 to like 800 is where like the mind was like, you can give up now. You're gonna injure yourself. And I was like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm drinking my water. I have my salt in me. Like, I'm gonna be fine. And it was like, you could give up now. Like, your shoulders, they could hurt. Like, something bad could happen. And like, there was all these little things that like played through the head that were like, just give up, just give up, just give up, just give up. And it felt like it continually attacked you. Like that resistance was like, you can quit now. Like, you can give up now. But the moment you get to that like 800, you're like, no, the end is right fucking there. Like, I don't care now. Like, I don't give a shit. And I remember feeling it and being like, no, like, I'm coming for you. Like, I don't care what it takes. Like, I'm coming for you. And then I feel like at 900 is when the resistance was silenced. I felt like it was just silent after 900. Like, all of those noises, all that crap in the head, all of that, like, give up was just, the moment you hit 900, it's that valley of just silence. And you're just like, you're just going. And there's no more resistance. There's no more, you can't do this. It's just like, there's the end goal. Go get it. And it still gives me chills, dude. It still like hits me. It's like, like, fuck, man, that was
Good experience.
honestly one of the best things that we've ever done. And we'll have to do that again, like soon. We'll have to do either the 1,000
Well,
push-ups or something.
maybe here in like, give me a week, 2 weeks. My elbows aren't too bad, so they should recover. My lat, I don't know about my lat, but maybe we could hit a pull-up challenge here. Do 250 pull-ups. That would be
I'd
good.
be down, dude. I'd be down to hit a 250 pull-up challenge.
I
That'd be
just
fun.
know around 100, that's where it's gonna be,
That's where I'm hitting like one at a time.
where the devil's gonna be on your shoulder. Give up.
Yeah.
I know you want to. No, it's a good like anyone who tries to do one of these challenges, it's a good comparative to, I mean, achieving any goal, honestly. Like I was talking about it earlier, like when you first start getting into working out, the first 100 days, you're going to have every reason to give up. You're not seeing anything. But then once you get past a certain point, it's just, you're invincible.
Yeah.
And so I compare it to any, like, trying to achieve any goal in life. So, that's good. Challenge yourself.
Yeah. All right,
2,000 push-ups.
let's talk goals. What were your goals last week? And did you hit
Oh
them?
my gosh.
Was your physical and
My goals were they were leading me into my bulk. And so my intellectual, I think, my intellectual was stretching and focus on my breathing, I think. And then my physical was the 3,000 calories. So the physical obviously didn't get there because I'm not bulking yet. I'm still planning out my bulk, so that's still in the works. And I was stretching, I was doing good with my breathing, which is amazing. I mean, breath work is amazing in itself. Everyone needs to look into that. But the whole stretching and irritating the injuries kind of got frustrating. So both of my goals were kind of thwarted. But That's all right. It happens. Um, let's see where I want to go. I'm gonna set a physical goal that's kind of taboo. Here, I'm not gonna say I won't work out for the rest of the week. I was gonna say I won't work out for the rest of the week, but there's one workout I could do, I think, and that's sit-ups. So I'm gonna restrict myself to sit-ups for the rest of the week
Damn.
and focus on recovery, which is, you know, for a normal person, they're like, it's hard to work out. For me, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be extremely challenging. I'm really going to focus on the rest, ice, compression, and elevation. On all my injuries, I'm going to focus on recovery, getting my nutrition settled and established. So let's see. That's a physical goal, right?
Hmm. So you're intellectual.
Intellectual. So I'm reading my book, How Not to Die. It's a big book, so I'm not going to finish it. I don't know if I'm going to get halfway through it. I'm trying to think of something other intellectual-wise to go towards. But I'll aim for that. I'll aim halfway through
Halfway.
my book,
Okay.
and that'll be my goals.
Okay. All right. Recovery and halfway through How Not to Die. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. My goals last week were intellectual was to read Think and Grow Rich. Okay, let me preface. I've read that book like 3 or 4 times, maybe more. I used to fall asleep to the summary of it. And my goal was to read it and not get distracted. I got distracted, and I started a different book that I'm enjoying heavily. And I'm going to get halfway through that book because it is pretty big. It's like 500 pages. Actually, let me see. How many pages is this? Maybe not 500. It's 430. Yeah, 430 pages. I'm like over a quarter of the way through. So I'd like to get at least halfway. I honestly might read the whole thing. I'm really, 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 really enjoying it. So halfway through that one, at least, I'll probably get all the way. I'll probably get further than halfway just because I'm reading it all throughout the day. I can't stop reading it. It's my new Bible. Um,
Gosh.
I'm not going to say the name of it because it's now my new favorite book. And that's scary. So, physical goal. Last week's physical goal was what? I think it was the breathing in the morning and stretching in the morning. I liked that. I liked that you were doing that, and that was my new. I remember that's what I said. I didn't do my breath work, but I have been doing my stretching, which is nice because my body is very relaxed and is recovering well through things. So I'm consistent with my stretching. I haven't been doing my breath work though, so I need to do that more. So for this week on physical goal, you know what? I'm just gonna set the breath work in the morning. I need to do that every day. I need to do my breath work just because it helps me get my day started right. It helps me get my oxygen into the brain, and I need to focus on that. I need to hit that consistently every day for 7 days. So 7 days, proper breathing in the morning. My what is it? I don't know. I do 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. That's just how I do my breath work. So I'm gonna do my breath work every day. So halfway through my book and breath work every day for 7 days. That'll be my goal this week, as well as my running. I have to be consistent with my running. I've been consistent. I just want to stay consistent. I don't want to stop running. And keep doing that. Because I'm bulking. I'm trying to be a thick boy.
Thick boy.
Thick boy.
You're running your 48 miles.
Not yet. Not yet. I want to do a couple weeks of 4 miles consistently, and then maybe I'll attack that Goggins challenge again, and I'll record and do probably a Snapchat story or something for that whole thing. Because that's what I did last time. I only made it to mile 16, and on Snapchat I was like, "All right, guys, I give up." I was like, "Fuck this."
I'm a I'm a quitter.
So we'll get there.
Cool.
Stay tuned for a pull-up challenge in the near future. All right, that concludes 2 Minutes to Life, episode 9. Nice.
9.
All right, see you next week.